Welcome back. Great to have you with us on The Full View. Joburg residents have welcomed the launch of the Safer Festive season campaign.
Well, Gauteng police went on raids and held a roadblock as part of the launch. Well, nearly 300 undocumented foreign nationals were also arrested.
An early morning traffic disruption, a roadblock to kickstart festive season. Surprisingly, welcomed by motorists.
I'm happy actually. I'm very happy. It's a good thing. Keep us safe in the roads. So it's a blessing actually. We need things like this.
Others not so impressed.
I feel like the criminal is not on the face. Okay, down, not searching down. But at least I prove myself.
Oh, okay. Can we go now?
If these officers are done, then you can leave. It's fine.
It's two-sided, eh? We're now ladies go long, and also this has to be done, so I guess it's necessary.
It's very irritating knowing that you need to get to work and you're sitting in traffic, but yeah.
The operation is already yielding results. In the last 24 hours, 129 wanted suspects were arrested in Gauteng alone.
Every day in this province there is a raid. There are a lot of people that were arrested. From yesterday up to this morning, we have arrested about
129 wanted suspects?
Yeah, wanted for the last 24 hours. So that's that. So it's a very busy province to make sure that people, they enjoy their festive season. But when the time comes for them to move through the coastal,
counterfeit goods worth hundreds of thousands were also confiscated in the Johannesburg CBD. Police also travelled on the train and heard the challenges commuters face on public transport. Mahlako Komani, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Let's talk about that launch now. We're joined on the line by the spokesperson for the Gauteng South African Police Service, Brigadier Mathapelo. A very good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us. We're early into November and already you've got things kick-started. Approximately how many police are we looking at being deployed during the festive season to ensure that we're all safe?
Good evening, Criselda, and good evening to your viewers. Well, for reasons that are obvious, we cannot divulge the number of our deployments. However, we can confirm that throughout the festive season operations that end in January, we will be increasing the deployments as well as the visibility. We will also be intensifying the operations. So we will be across the province and just disrupting the criminal activities.
Brigadier, I'm sure this is a multi-pronged approach. I know that you also work with, for example, the Tshwane Metro Police Department. You also work with the Johannesburg Metro Police Department, Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, to try and ensure that everyone is safe during the festive season. But, I want to talk a bit about, if there are any hot spots. I mean, over the years, obviously, you must have learned from some of the plans that you've put in place where your strong points were, where more improvement needs to be done. Is there specific hotspots that you're looking at where police are really going to intensify the kind of action that we have seen over the past few years?
Yes, indeed, Criselda. We are taught by experience that some of these hotspots over the festive seasons remains like your shopping malls and shopping centers and malls, as well as your liquor outlets where people go for entertainment, because the festive season is characterized by festivities, celebrations, as well as people carrying a whole lot of cash or just people having a lot of money. So those are the type of crimes that we are looking at. So definitely we will be going to that. But we have also found that with the intensified integrated operations we have been conducting since early this year, that the crime patterns seem to be changing, where now we are also dealing with house robberies, we are dealing with crimes on the roads like hijackings and vehicle crimes. So we will be addressing all crime areas and just trying to make sure that crime remains at an all-time low during the festive season.
I know that one cannot pinpoint exactly what your key focus would be, but you mentioned house robberies and hijackings as well. We've seen, since a couple of months ago, a number of people post what seems to be an indication of quite an increase. I don't have the official statistics, but from what you're saying, perhaps when we look at issues relating to, house robberies, you have a lot of people who are going away for the festive season, and criminals do take that opportunity, of course, to go about those criminal deeds.
Yes, indeed, Criselda. We do encourage our members of the public who know that they will be going on holiday to just take those extra precautionary measures to make sure that their personal security is increased. However, because we have done our crime pattern analysis as well, we are aware of the areas where these house robberies seem to be gaining prevalence, and we have also analyzed the modus operandi. So we want to assure our members of the public that we are working very hard. And what is also assisting us is that we have joined hands together with private security as well as businesses, just to make sure that where the police are not able to reach, we do have partnerships with stakeholders who are able to go where the police cannot. But we do also want to emphasize to our members of the public that where they can, like especially in places where people can afford to have extra security, like your alarms and fences and all of that, to please do that as well, just to assist us so that everyone is safe and secure over the festive.
Brigadier, one of the issues that has been a problem for the South African Police Service is that you have imposters, people who are masquerading as police officers, and that's one of the modus operandi that we have seen during the festive season, when you have such a high visibility of police on the road, when you're flagged off by a police officer, and then it turns out that these are imposters. And what should citizens, not just Gauteng as citizens, but citizens around the country look out for in instances such as this? Because imposters do take the opportunity to take advantage, especially when you have such high visibility during that period.
Well, yeah, the visibility as well especially say for instance, like on the highways and busy routes will also assist. But we also encourage our members of the public that where they feel not safe and they do not trust that they are being stopped by police officers, to drive to the nearest police station. But I also want to mention that a week ago, when the Minister of Police launched the national operations for the Safer Festive season in KZN, the police launched a new app, which is the SAPS app, where you can report crime and give police tip-off. So that is a kind of device and technology that can also be used where, in the instance that you don't feel safe, or say maybe you're driving on a road and you feel like maybe there's a possibility of you being hijacked, and the police you don't know where the nearest police station is. You can actually use this app to locate your nearest police station, as well as also to find assistance. So there are different mechanisms that members of the public can embark on, just to make sure that the people that are stopping you are not bogus police. But we also sometimes encourage people that should you find yourself in such a position, but to not be resistant, because once you do resist, these criminals are known to be able to do anything, including violence, to get what they want. So give them the car, it is replaceable, but your life is not. Give them the cell phone, those things are replaceable.
Brigadier, a clamp down on liquor outlets in some areas where obviously many people enjoy in different ways, and in the past we have seen, I've been on quite a number of raids with the South African Police Service where you've targeted a lot of these liquor outlets where there's a lot of criminal activity that would happen in and around those areas, the illegal sale of alcohol as well, which may play a certain part in some of the criminal activity that happens in those particular areas.
That is so true, Criselda. Just in fact today, when we started with the operations as early as 2 a.m. this morning. So we have closed down some pubs, we have closed down taverns, we have closed down and confiscated liquor in some places, because I'm sure you remember when the Minister of Police released the crime stats for the previous financial year.
Yeah.
It was said that most serious and violent crimes were attributed to the consumption of alcohol, where alcohol was a contributor to crime. So that is the reason why we will also be intensifying operations such as the ones on liquor outlets for compliance, just to check for compliance with the regulations, as well as to make sure that, for instance, underage children are not found in such places. I mean, school holidays are looming, so you will find children going to these places to celebrate. So we will really be clamping down on these and intensifying our operations to make sure that we reduce serious and violent crimes.
All right, just finally, Brigadier, key areas that you'll be focusing on, clamping down of some of these liquor outlets. A lot of roadblocks are expected in conjunction, of course, with the Metro Police and the other areas which you'll be focusing on?
Yeah, sure. Definitely, we will be increasing our visibility. We, in fact, this morning had a train ride with the Minister of Police, so we'll also be addressing public transport where some of these crimes and petty crimes, common robberies, happen at places of public transport like your taxi ranks and train stations. We will also be looking at places of entertainment like we discussed, and then taverns and all, taverns and closing down of shebeens. So we will also be intensifying our operations for drug dealings, as well as then the crime intelligence is on the ground. This morning, we also went to a building where we arrested at least 3 people for hijacked buildings, 2 buildings that were hijacked. But in those also, we were able to find over 300 for undocumented foreign nationals who are now being processed by the Department of Home Affairs. So there will be different areas that we will be focusing on just to make sure that the residents of Gauteng feel safe over the festive season.
Brigadier Mathapelo, Peter, thank you indeed for chatting us tonight. The launch, of course, of the South African Police Service festive season safety campaign, and I'm sure we'll be chatting to her in the weeks ahead as that campaign, of course, does intensify. A lot of sport coming up next, and I'm sure it's going to include lots of that excitement that we saw with the box in Durban as well as this London, and also the ABSA Premiership teams will be in action, I think, is it this weekend?
Absolutely,
There we
Griselda.
go.